Good morning, everyone in the room. Good morning online. Welcome to the ELKR Rotary Club, the greatest Rotary Club in the galaxy. My name is Eric Garten. I am your president for about another 10 months. Not that anybody's counting. Oh, right. Okay. You are. Excellent. All right. I would love to invite Lisa Guadea Carreño to the podium to give us some thoughtful words.
Thanks, Eric. Tomorrow, September 21st, is the International Day of Peace. And in honor of that, I want to read the peace prayer. I want to give you a couple of caveats. Being a librarian, of course, I had to look at how it's really St. Francis of Assisi. And in fact, it's not. It's not in any of his writings. It is anonymous. It's often attributed to him, and it seems right in keeping with his other writings. But it was it can only be traced back as far as 1912 in a French small spiritual magazine published by the Catholic Church, an organization in Paris, affiliated with the Catholic Church, and the author's name was not given. And that helped me then feel better about the second caveat, which is that I modified it just a little bit to make it more inclusive and ecumenical. So please consider these words. Creator, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine one, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in giving of ourselves that we are given new life. Amen. Yes, pledge. I pledge allegiance and the four-way test. Fair to all. Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much, Lisa. And sorry I interrupted you with moving you to stand on your mark. All right. I'd like to welcome Steve Tallheimer, who was at the greeter table today, to introduce today's guests. We have quite a few. The guests that signed in are Emma Duggar, who is with Doug Risser. And on behalf of Oak Community Schools, visiting as guests of the club are Kyle Wyrick and Brent Winter. Oh, I got it. I know I said it was quite a few, but it was just maybe literally. And I love it. Doug Risser worked so hard to create a space for Emma at the table, but Doug's a popular guy and everyone wanted to sit with Doug. So Emma got here for the guests and no more room at the table. There we go. Okay. If you have any announcements, please come up to the front. And while that is anyone's coming up, I wanted to let the club know about a club resignation. And this is from Stu Basquin. And I wanted to read a letter from Stu. I spoke with him on the phone and tried to convince him to stay. But in talking to him, I could tell it was the time, and Stu was happy with this decision. But I did want to read this letter because it was very, very nice. It is with great regret I feel I must resign from Rotary. For almost 40 years, Rotary has been an integral part of my life. I know the club will continue with exceptionally great projects. It has been a great privilege to be a member. And that signs Stu Basper. So we'll miss Stu, and I'm sure I'll see him at Wellfield. He comes there pretty frequently. I'll check in and see how he's doing. Upcoming meetings. Next Monday, we're going to have Goshen College Center for Community Engagement speaking. And actually, the president, Rebecca Stolzfus, will actually be starting off that presentation, the president of Goshen College. October 4th, thanks to Sharon, we've actually got some really great programs coming up in October, but the first one, considerations when transitioning from wearing a hearing aid to cochlear implants, with Dr. Chelsea Twine. She's an audiologist from Beacon Medical Group. So good stuff coming up. Preview of service projects on behalf of the morning division. Bob Gerard wanted to let us know that there are service opportunities coming up on September 25th. That's this Saturday. It's the first one out at Boot Lake. You can meet there at 10 o'clock at the parking lot and get your hands dirty. Do something active outdoors if you'd like, and you don't even have to get up early, which is atypical for the morning division members. And then there are also opportunities October 9th, November 13th, and December 11th, all meeting at 10 a.m. at the Boot Lake Nature Preserve. And Tom MacArthur, Tom, are you here today? And that's okay. We have service days for our County Road 6 cleanup, the traditional noon division. It'll either be the 16th or the 23rd of October. So if you're one to put those things in your calendars early, and this is where it's okay to get out your phone and do that, please put that in there. Tom will be asking for signups pretty soon. Susan Ginther, she's not here, but there's currently a Dresses for Guatemala international service projects in place. And I hope that folks were working on those at home, and then there'll also be, I think that she's trying for an in-person, maybe still to come. So stand by for that announcement. And this week, September 20 through September 26 is Rotary Peace Corps Week. And I am going to ask Ashley Bowen, who was a member of the Peace Corps and brings that experience with her to this meeting in our club. She's going to give us a quick presentation about what this means. And what she's going to be talking about specifically is partnering for peace. And I am going to get this up here, Ashley, and shared. Just do a real simple share screen. Everyone else just talk through what they're doing. It helps, right? And we got this one. And that one. And if you'd like, you can even advance with this, but probably standing here is best. And we're going to duplicate this. There we go.
Thank you very much, Eric, for giving the time, and Doug Risser for the suggestion to do this presentation today. This will be very short, but it's just to give you a little bit of background information. So this week is National Rotary Peace Corps Week, as Eric mentioned, because tomorrow is our Day of Peace, thanks to Lisa. That was not coordinated, but it goes really well together. So the mission of the partnership between Rotary and Peace Corps is to promote collaborative and partnership efforts between the communities of the Peace Corps and Rotary under, sorry, I can't see the rest because of what's on the screen, under the terms of the Alliance to meet and carry out the partnership objectives and each organization's strategic priorities. As you can see up on the screen, on the left are Rotary's areas of focus, and on the right are the Peace Corps' areas of focus. You can see that every single one of them is reflected with each other. I'm here telling you about these because, as Eric mentioned, I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer. I served for 2 years in Peru from 2014 to 2016 with this group of individuals. We served in 2 areas, mine, which was community economic development, and the other half of the group was youth development. This is one particular group of students that I taught financial education to in a post-secondary technical school. I'll draw your attention to this girl, Mari Bell. I was giving my very first exam of the semester, and Mari Bell was the only one left in the room. I walked over to her and saw that the only thing filled out on her test was her name. I asked her what was wrong, and she was very shy, so of course she didn't answer. So I verbally asked her the questions and wrote out the answers for her. After going to the director of the school and talking to her about this, we soon found out that Mari Bell was illiterate. She could not read or write, although she had graduated from both primary and secondary school and applied to become a student of this post-secondary technical school. 3 months later, after she had gone to a doctor to find out what was wrong, they found out that she had a brain tumor. And 3 months after that, she died. These are all things that could have been caught earlier if people had been paying attention to where Mari Bell was at and diagnosed the tumor earlier and stopped it. So how does this tie into Partnering for Peace? I was introduced to a very nice man by the name of Carl Dickerson through Doug Risser, who runs a literacy international initiative through Partnering for Peace. He is working in Costa Rica, Honduras, the Dominican Republic, and Eastern Caribbean to create sustainable literacy projects. They partner to collaborate with the local Ministry of Education, the local Rotary clubs in country, U.S. Rotary clubs, current Peace Corps volunteers, returned Peace Corps volunteers like me, to design and implement literacy projects that align with and support the current needs and curriculum in the country. We're very lucky because on November 15th, he's going to speak to our club about some of the initiatives that he is undertaking within those areas. So this is just a teaser to let you know what's upcoming and to pique your interest a little bit. If you have further interest after this, there are webinars tonight, Wednesday night, and Friday night to talk about the initiatives in Partnering for Peace. You can find them very easily on the Rotary International website. And I'd like to say thank you to all of you for making this returned Peace Corps volunteers return home a little bit easier. By joining Rotary, it feels a little bit like being in the Peace Corps again, because it's that one place I can come to throughout the week where I'm in a room filled with passionate people who are all about helping our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay. All right. We have a couple of our partner not-for-profits here today. And I am first going to ask Emma Duggar from the 8th Street School to come up and give us a short presentation about how our grant that we gave earlier this year is helping to further the programs and ultimately make our community a better place. I'm going to share our screen again. See if twice in a row we can make this work. Minimize this. There we go. Do that thing would get smaller. Awesome. Okay, Emma, thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I am Emma Duggar. I am the director of 8th Street Preschool in Goshen. And I want to start by saying thank you. The grant money that you gave our preschool allowed us to jumpstart a new outdoor education program, and the children love it. We've been in school about quite a month yet. The COVID pandemic has been rough on our preschool. Last year, we made the difficult decision to not open in the fall out of an abundance of caution for the children and their families. Disappointed, but not defeated, we took the opportunity to dream about how to best teach our students. Now, thanks to your support, one of those the outdoor education program is a reality. The core of this new programming is referred to as loose parts play. This is a form of exploration and problem solving that provides students with materials they can adapt, move, design, and transform in unlimited ways. Boxes, crates, sheets, pipes, sticks, buckets, rocks, and mud. These are all the toys and tools of loose parts play. When children interact with these materials, they are able to think imaginatively, solve problems, and get excited about their creations. Some photos of our kids outdoors. We have an abundant supply of these open-ended materials just by stepping outside. Research shows all parts of a child's development benefit from the natural environment. Playing outdoors grows resilience, self-confidence, initiative, creativity, and more. Nature can reduce fear, anger, and stress, and increase happy and calm feelings. We are lucky to have an expert in loose parts play here in Elkhart County. Dr. Carla Gall has over 20 years of teaching experience at the preschool, elementary, and college levels. She leads professional development and research in outdoor classrooms, loose parts play, and nature play. She hosts a podcast and facilitates an international group on loose parts play. Her first book on loose parts play will be published this fall. We are thrilled to be working with her on this new programming. Every week, 40 students in our 4-year-old classes go outdoors for a lesson with Carla. Assisted by our teachers, Carla reiterates the topics the class is currently discussing, like families, emotions, and what makes them special. She will often read a story to spark their imaginations and then free them to explore the topic. For example, as they were discussing families and homes, Carla brought materials for several different mud kitchens, including index cards for recipes. When the students were learning about emotions and individuality, Carla brought small mirrors and talked about what they looked like. The students then used hula hoops and other round discs as bases to create faces with a variety of materials. Some even used chalk to draw bodies. In addition to these outdoor sessions, Carla collaborates with our teachers to create imaginative, open-ended learning opportunities for our students throughout their school day. With her help, we have transformed one of our classrooms into a space for loose parts play, encouraged our teachers to relocate their lessons outdoors whenever possible, and we're preparing evening programs for parents and students to experience the benefits of playing and exploring together as a family. The emotional and academic benefits of loose parts play are too numerous for this short presentation, but let me end with this observation. Many preschool children struggle with separating from parents at drop-off. This is very normal as these young children are entering a new experience for the first time without their parents. This year, when a student is struggling, all I have to say is today's outdoor education, and they quickly jump out of their vehicle or pull away from their parents with a big smile. Thank you again for helping our school provide this fun, healthy, hands-on way of learning to our community.
Right, thanks a lot, Emma. I've worked with Dr. Gull before at Wellfield, and she is fantastic. And if you're a social media friend of Carla's, you will also realize that she truly lives what she teaches. She is one of those people. She has her kids constantly outdoors, and that's neat. She really does live that lifestyle for sure. So thanks, Emma. All right, now I would like to have introduce Kyle Wyrick and Brett Winternheimer. Is that pretty close? And I think Kyle's gonna. Are you both gonna come up to present, or just one? Kyle is the director of bands at ELKR High School, and he is gonna talk to us about how our contribution has helped them in a very visual way, and we're going to do this again. I think we might have set a record today for the most number of PowerPoints at a single, and so far, things have worked. And Emma, nice job. You put a lot of trust in me to put those in a certain order that actually made any sort of sense whatsoever. Oops, sorry here. I shouldn't have said anything. All right, let's get Kyle's up here. And then we will share screen, share that. All right, I love it when it works. Kyle Wyrick, take it away.
Hello, as Eric said, Kyle Wyrick. I'm the Director of Orchestras and K-12 Music Coordinator for Elkhart Community Schools. And Brett Winternheimer is with us here today. He is the new Director of Band. So you have an opportunity, you may be able to introduce yourself to him later. So thank you very much for your support of our program to raise money for our new Elkhart High School music apparel. We've been working on this for about 2 years. We are combined now, all officially, everybody is combined, and you've probably heard a lot about that, and we can answer any questions about that too. But we now have raised the money we need for all of our music apparel for combined Elkhart High School. And you can see there the new band uniform, marching band. If you were at a football game, you may have seen that. And you can see that there is an E in there on the front for Elkhart. And as we go through here, there'll be some other pictures that might be a little bit more visible. How do I? Not going yet. Maybe it'll go a bunch of them at a time.
It's just struggling for whatever reason. Let's try this again. Share. Share. We're sharing that. And now we're showing this. And then we're doing that.
Yay. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry that those numbers are a little small. I have them here so I could read them to you, but the big number at the top, you can see this is the total, what we needed to completely replace grades 9 through 12, band, choir, orchestra, tuxes, dresses, choir robes, stoles, marching band uniforms, etc. So the largest area here, thank you so much to Elkhart Community Schools. They contributed almost half, which is 96,000. If we get over here to the Elkhart Education Foundation, that's 32,000. And then we had the Martin Foundation gave us an extremely generous grant of 25,000. And then this last part over here, about a quarter, 57,000, is everybody else. And we thank you so much for your help with that. It's community donations. We did, we sent out letters, we had business and individual sponsorships that, as you can see, we couldn't have done it without that. So thank you. And moving on here, there's another picture where you can really see that E on the front of the uniform. It's just a beautiful uniform. Marching band on the field at a football game a week or two ago. And we don't have pictures of our kids yet in the tuxes and dresses, so I pulled these off of the websites for the companies. I mean, the tux is just a basic tux with black tie, black cummerbund. And most of the choirs, all the bands, all of the orchestras will be wearing that. And then here you can see the dress design that was chosen. Not the blue, it will be black, concert black. So that gives you an idea of what we are fortunately able to purchase for our students. And we thank you very much for your support. And like I said, if you have any questions, we'll be around. And thanks for your invitation today.
Kyle, thanks again. And sorry for the mix up in the titles there. Glad that you could both be here. All right. Okay, it's time. Speaking of money, we're going to try to raise a little more money for next year. And to do that, we have Mr. Bill Reith. Bill, you should be done 5 minutes ago.
Thank you, Eric, and I am your PowerPoint. All right. So I'd like to begin my Rotary presentation with just a couple of confessions. They say confession is good for the soul. I want to let you all know that I'm thinking about taking up hunting as a hobby. So this past weekend, I went out to the store to look for some camouflage pants, but I couldn't find any. And recently I shared with my doctor that I'm addicted to Twitter, and he said, sorry, I don't follow you. And finally, I want to confess that I like TV. I like watching sports and some entertainment. And last night, it was the 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards. If you watched them or thought about watching them or aware of them, please put in a buck. Now the Emmys honor U.S. primetime television programming. My favorite show of all time, and if you know me, this is no surprise, is Star Trek, which has won now a total of 29 Emmys. One won last night for Star Trek Discovery for their special visual effects. Now a little bit of Emmy trivia here. They began in 1949. And the name for the award came from a piece of TV technology, the Image Orthon tube. They called it an IME. They thought IME didn't sound very good, so they changed it to the feminine form Emmy. And it also reflected the statuette, which was made after the wife, one of the very early people that was involved in the television arts news industry. And the statuette, it's a woman with wings. And do you know what she's holding? She's holding an atom. And it represents the television's goal of supporting and uplifting the arts and the science of television. So if this piece of Emmy trivia is new to you, then please put in a buck. Now, the very first Emmys were held on January 25th, 1949. At the Hollywood Athletic Club. And unlike the current iteration, it was fairly cheap. Tickets only cost $5. And the show was a lot shorter. They only had 6 awards. The very first award they gave out was for the most outstanding television personality. And it was won by the Judy Splinter Show. What makes this award particularly odd is the fact that Judy Splinters was a puppet. The award was received by her puppeteer, a 20-year-old ventriloquist named Shirley Dinsdale. Now, if you've ever thought, I can't believe that this person or this show won an Emmy, then put in a buck. In the early years of the awards, the Emmys tested out a lot of categories, some of them more logical than others. And by far the most nonsensical pair of awards came in 1958, when the Television Academy decided to honor, this is the entire title, the best continuing performance in a series by a comedian, singer, hostess, dancer, MC, announcer, narrator, panelist, or any person who essentially plays himself or herself. Basically, these Emmys were given to people for being themselves. So if during this last year you were yourself and not someone else, like you were a spy, then I'm awarding you today an honorary Emmy that consists of this imaginary statue. You can see it here in front of me. And to celebrate your win, put in a buck. There have been some strange Emmy awards. It's just not our favorite stars in television shows that take home Emmys. One strange award was given to the yellow line shown during NFL games. It's officially called the 1st and 10 line, and it won an Emmy. Receiving the award for the yellow line were its proud parents, ESPN and Sport Vision. So if you ever hope that something you created, a child, a brilliant piece of work, or some other creation won an award, then put in a buck. In 1967, there was a surprise Emmy winner in the Outstanding Comedy Series category. Anybody know who won Outstanding Comedy last night? Ted Lasso, an excellent show. Excellent, very funny, and it makes you feel good. Anyways, in 1967, there were several popular comedy shows up for the award. Shows such as The Andy Griffith Show, Bewitched, Hogan's Heroes, and Get Smart. But all these fine shows lost to the incredible and amazing and intellectually stimulating show of The Monkees. So if you've ever listened to The Monkees, seen The Monkees, and thought this is a really weird show, then put in a buck. So as I wrap up, I'd like to share a couple recent wins in my life, things that I'm celebrating. I want to let you all know that I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. However, I'm still addicted to brake fluid, but I can stop at any time. And if you haven't maxed out, please do so. Thank you.
I gotta say, I don't watch a lot of TV, but that was fascinating. So the Emmy sculpture is holding an atom, what we used to think an atom looked like, because of the technology aspect. And the first down line in the NFL when they came out, that won an Emmy. That's pretty awesome. Tell us again the name of the object, the technology that they transformed slightly for marketing to Emmy. Image Orthoticon 2. Bill, I'm putting in 10 bucks because I love learning something new every day. I didn't think it would be from you, but I'm putting in 10 bucks. Thank you, Bill, for doing that. All right. We have today our speaker, the Director of Digital Content from Crystal Vivian, and I would like Aaron, and who's right there beside me, out of my peripheral vision, to come up and give an introduction. Thank you. And I'll let you take care of it.
I don't do technology. All right. Well, I'm excited to learn from Crystal Vivian today. She's the Director of Content for Federated Digital Solutions in Northern Indiana. She's going to talk to us about the best platform for social media for your business. And I know many of you may not be on social media personally. If I could help it, I wouldn't be either, but it's part of my job. But social media is a critical piece of marketing for businesses in this day and age. So Crystal runs a network of 40+ podcasts and manages the content marketing, social media, voice skills, mobile apps, and other digital content for Federated Digital Solutions, 12 radio stations. And she also has a strong background in writing for healthcare. So Crystal, thanks.
We can do it. There you go.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And even if you aren't directly involved in social media for your business, maybe you have somebody on your team who does it, this can help you with them. But even for your own personal social media, especially if you're using it in your career, I think this can be really helpful. So I'm going to talk today about the platforms to be on and how to create great content for them. First, I like to be really interactive. I want to start by asking you, what social media do you guys use for your business? How many of you know if your business has a Facebook account? What about Instagram? Twitter? LinkedIn? TikTok? TikTok, really? I love it. That's awesome. Very rare, but way to be on the front lines. That's awesome. Snapchat. No, nobody, you shouldn't be on Snapchat for your business. So that's for your friends. You're on Snapchat for your business. Tell me what your business is about, because I'm very curious. Now, what about personally? How many of you guys for yourself, but as of just an individual, have a Facebook account? Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. Okay, the people, you're on TikTok at home and at work. I love it. So if you guys kind of looked around, not everybody who uses Facebook or the same social media for business uses the same social media for work. And that's a really important point, because your social media for your business or for the people that you're trying to reach, if you're using it as a professional, should really be about who you're trying to reach, the audience that you're trying to get to, and not necessarily about your personal use. I have a Twitter account, but if you've checked it out, I haven't tweeted in like 6 months because I just don't really like Twitter, just personally, but I use it for work every single day. So you have to think of it that way. And I really want to urge that if you feel like you have to be on every single platform, you don't, or your business. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You want to focus on your target audience and being everything to them and being where they are. Because you're wasting your time if you're on a platform where your audience isn't spending any time. And how do you know who your, what platforms to be on? Well, think about your audience in 3 ways: demographics, psychographics, and actually those are the 2 things. Don't remember what the 3rd one was. For demographics, we're really thinking like age and sex. So this is a study from a company called Edison Research and Triton Digital. They do a study every single year. They release it in March. It's my favorite day of the year because I'm a total data nerd. And they look at what social media are people using. So This is for ages 12 to 34. Facebook is very heavy, but you can see this year it really dropped off for 12 to 34. Instagram is growing. Snapchat is growing. Look at the TikTok growth. That's huge. If you're trying to reach people who are in their 20s or early 30s, TikTok is a great platform to be on. LinkedIn is really big. LinkedIn is way bigger with people 35 to 54. And that makes sense because people who are 25 to 50 or 35 to 54 are typically more established in their careers and trying to network with other people. And that's also why we're here today. Facebook, much bigger. Instagram, not as important. Pinterest, Snapchat, and whatever. Twitter, still not as important, not very big. And then for people 55 and older, Facebook is #1 far and away. It's it's not uncommon, it happens, but people 55 and older typically don't use a lot of other social media outside of Facebook, and that's okay. So when you're thinking about who am I trying to reach in my business? Who am I trying to talk to? Who's gonna buy my products or use my services? If you're thinking about the demographics, that's the first step of choosing which social media platforms to focus on. Also thinking about the users and which ones they use most often, because a lot of us raised our hands several times. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all of that, but there's one platform that we spend probably more hours on in a given day or week than another platform. And this is for age 12 plus. As of this year, Facebook is now less than half of people use that as their #1 platform. Instagram is really growing. TikTok, which didn't exist 2 years ago, is now the #1 social media platform for 7% of people. LinkedIn is not #1 for anybody because it's a professional network, but they do use it. So this is just a little bit of information that I think is really helpful to look at and think about demographically, who you're trying to reach, where are they spending their time? That's where you should be spending your time. And if we break it up by age groups, we can see Facebook for those of us who are 35 plus, Facebook is where we are. But again, trying to reach people in their 20s and early 30s. Yes, okay, thank you. Blue is Facebook. The pink one next to it, it looks like a camera, is Instagram. The yellow is Snapchat, again, friends only. The black is TikTok, and that's the short form videos and everybody's dancing and doing different things there. The blue bird is Twitter. The red P is Pinterest. Very common for like wedding planning and events like that. The green telephone with the circle is WhatsApp, which is an instant messaging platform owned by Facebook. It's used more for international businesses and international people who are connecting with people overseas. It's not so commonly used here in America. And then the gray is just other. And then this is a study from the Pew Research Center, just looking at, again, breaking it down by demographics of not just age and gender, but household income, race and ethnicity, education level, whether they live in an urban or suburban or rural area, and where are they spending time. And this includes even YouTube, which is technically a social network. And I can share this presentation with you guys so you can look at it more in detail later on your own. But I think it's really important to not just think, oh, this new social media platform is out there, I should be on it. You really should be thinking, there's this new social media platform out there, should I be on it, and how can I use it best for my business? And if there's an audience there that you're trying to reach, then you absolutely should be on it. But your psychographics matter too. It's not just about, I'm a woman in my 30s. There's more to me than that. Personalities, lifestyles, interests, values. I do a lot of cooking at home, so I'm on Instagram a lot because I watch a lot of recipe videos. Also think about what people are using the platforms for. People use Twitter to really engage with the news or like live events, Whereas Facebook is more about like sharing family events and sharing photos, things like that. And your brand voice should speak to these psychographics. So you want to talk to people like a person, not necessarily like a business, because we connect with each other because we connect with people. That's really what we're here for. That's what social media is all about. I always like to emphasize social media is social. It's not just, you know, an ad platform where we're just going to look at ads from businesses all day. Think about your personal use. Think about the brands that you interact with. You probably interact with the brands that have some kind of value to you or that are interesting to you or compelling. The content that they're sharing is interesting. It's not why I'm the best brand in the world. It's here's some information that can help you. Now we're building trust and now we have this relationship. You can survey your customers and find out what social media platforms they like. If you don't know, or if you just want to make sure that you are where you need to be. And then also review your social media and website analytics on the back end. If you're not getting a lot of comments on any platform that you're on, if you're not getting a lot of comments, that's the #1 social media metric to check. So your goal should always be to start conversations. So we've talked about which platforms to be on and how do we create great content for them. It's not content for our brands that we want people to interact with. It's content for people that we want, that makes them want to interact with our brands. When people are scrolling through social media, think about yourselves. You're not thinking about, well, what is this? What business is going to give me a great message today? You're thinking, well, I've got to pick up the kids at 4 and I've got to figure out what to do for dinner. And oh my gosh, my sister-in-law's birthday is this weekend and I've got to go pick up something at Target for her. And you've got all of these things on your mind that are all about you. And oh, I've got this thing going on at work. When people are scrolling through their social media feeds, that's what they're thinking about. So as businesses, we kind of have to think about that experience and remember that the kind of content that they're looking for is stuff that adds value to their lives. It's something that's interesting and compelling to them. It's something that's going to make them have an emotional reaction. Think about Subaru. Subaru is a great example because their commercials don't really talk about why their cars are great. They talk love is what makes a Subaru. For us at Federated Media, we have 12 radio stations. None of our radio stations almost ever post anything about music on social media. That's intentional because people, yeah, they listen to our radio stations for music, but they can listen to any radio station that plays the same bands that we do. They can listen to our stations because they connect with us, with our jocks, with the people who are talking to them on air. If you go to Froggy 102.7, our station that is focused on ELKR, we talk about what's going on in the community. Friday night football is here for high school. On Thursdays, we always ask, like, what do you care about? We choose 4 things to choose between. You like pizza or burgers? Do you want pepperoni or sausage? These are easy things to connect over, but that's what gets people talking. It makes people feel closer to us. And that's really important. That's our end goal, is to build trust and build these relationships with people who maybe they've never heard of Froggy 102.7, but their friend commented on our post. And now they're like, oh, that's a radio station in town. I'm gonna check it out. Oh, I really like this music. Great. Now I have a new radio station to listen to. My kid's in the car. You really want to think about emotions. Think about the things that you consume on a daily basis and the things that really make an impact to you. Think about the things that, everyone says, oh, write really short copy on social media, on Facebook. The things that go viral are these long, beautiful stories that make you cry or that make you feel hope. So thinking about the emotional stories and the triggers, the way that we're triggering people to feel some strong emotion doesn't have to be negative. In fact, it shouldn't be. Let's surprise them. Let's delight them. Let's inspire someone. Let's make them feel curious. Let's amuse them. Give them some hope. Make them feel some joy. Give them a sense of community, especially as small businesses or businesses located in a community like ELKR. One of my favorite things about living here is that we are so community oriented. Our businesses should be expressing that on social media because we are very community oriented. Have empathy, nostalgia. The presentation talking about the Emmys and Bewitched and the Monkeys. Like, I love those shows growing Nostalgia is awesome. People love thinking about how things, the great things that we love that brought us together when we used to sit down every Thursday at 7 o'clock and watch the same thing on TV. That's really cool. Let's talk about that. That's really fun. And it doesn't really matter what platform that you're on. You should be telling remarkable stories about your employees, your customers, your community. We heard so many stories today about the organizations that Rotary is helping. That's phenomenal. That's great social media content because it's emotional, it's exciting, it's compelling. And these organizations are doing great work because of stuff that you guys were able to do for them. That's really awesome. Use high quality graphics and images. Make them very low on the words, but very high quality, just visually appealing. If you look at this and you're like, doesn't look so great, don't use it. But if you look at it and go, wow, that's a great image, that's what you want to use. And do be careful about copyright protected images. If you want to post about the Emmys, you probably can't post a screenshot from Ted Lasso because Apple will come after you for copyright. Ask a lot of questions, either or questions, low emotion topics that people have strong opinions about. We want to ask people, how many dryer sheets do you put in your dryer? Like, we all have opinions, right? It's definitely 2, but less than 2, no, kidding. You can put however many you want, but people have a strong opinion about that. It's something that's not controversial, but they can come together about. Think about the questions, like the topics that are related to your business. One of the businesses that we run social media for is an appliance store. So we asked that question. It worked really well on radio stations. And I said, hey, let's post this on the business's account. And it did very well for them too. So think about the kind of things that people care about within your industry. Gamify everything, trivia, short quizzes, little infographics, pieces of information. Have fun with it. If you're having fun with your social media, the people who are seeing your content are also having fun. And that's really important. Share guides and how-tos for using your products and navigating your industry. My boss likes to tell a story about how she was helping her daughter clean out her apartment when she was moving, and she had this fan that was covered in dust and absolutely disgusting. But her daughter didn't want to throw it away, and even though she could go buy a $20 one, no problem, because she didn't want it to end up in the landfill. So she Googled, how do I clean this thing? How do I take it apart and clean it? She found a video, she took it apart and she cleaned it. That kind of information is so simple, but it's something that we use every single day that people need all the time. So guides and how-tos for how to use your products and services, or products and services that are related to your business that you can have a expert opinion on, absolutely useful. Contests are always awesome. People love to win free stuff. Be careful of asking people to share your post or tag a friend in the comments, because that can hurt your Facebook page. Facebook doesn't like that, but you can ask people to like a post on pretty much any platform or comment something related to a question that you're asking. There are specific rules, but people love to win prizes. Give something away. Video is number 1. TikTok is such a big platform nowadays because people love video content. Personally, not big on video content. I'd rather read. That's because I'm a writer by trade. But video, by and large, very important. But it doesn't have to be TV quality. It doesn't have to win an Emmy in order to be useful for your social media. A video that you take on your phone is absolutely phenomenal. Wellfield Gardens goes live all the time, and you're obviously just on your phone, but they're really engaging because it's a kind of a behind the scenes look, and it's something that people don't normally get to see, and they're learning something from it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't think you have to be perfect. Social media is not perfect. You don't have to be either. And be conversational, be very personal. Again, people engage with people, not brands. So if you can write like a person on social media, you're going to be really successful. It's really about that social aspect and connecting with people. We're really good about connecting with people every day, right? Social media, we should treat it the exact same way. It's just connecting with people. It's just making friends. We're really good at it. We can still do it online. And finally, jump on trends and don't be afraid to have fun. It should be fun. You should be having fun, even if you don't like social media very well. honestly, there are some days where I could say, you know, I really wish that I didn't have to have a Facebook account, but I do it for work, so I'm here. And then there are days where I'm like, I'm really grateful I have a Facebook account because I got to see pictures of my nieces and nephews that I wouldn't get to see otherwise, or because I found this really great recipe that now I get to try. You know, if you're having fun, then the people who are following you are having fun, and it should be a fun thing. And finally, again, I'll share this presentation so you guys have it, but these are some great free tools for creating content. Don't feel like you have to pay a bunch of money to do things. There are free resources out there, whether you want to create video or just nice graphics, anything like that. Take advantage of that. And they're great. I've used all of these. They're very fun. Any questions?
I haven't talked about one of the major downsides of the
Okay.
there is a huge loss of privacy that most people are not even aware of. You have to do two things when you post it on any social media. One, whatever you post will be there forever.
Yes.
Number two, whatever you post can be seen by anyone.
Yes.
The information that you put on social media, whether it be kind of food you like, cars you drive, your dating, doesn't make any difference. Those companies sell that information, private information. For those people that don't realize that that's going on, what would you suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. So the question was basically the information that we post online, especially on social media, is there forever and anybody can see it. Even if we think we have privacy settings, there are screenshots, the data is being used by social media platforms in order for them to sell advertising to companies like mine and probably lots of yours that spend money advertising on social media. So what do you say to somebody to kind of prevent that? What I say is don't post anything on social media that you're not afraid, that you're afraid to share to the entire world. Because you basically are, even if your Facebook is locked to just your friends, there is a chance for other people to see it. The social media platforms are collecting data on you when you're using them, even going down to which content are you looking at, but not liking or commenting the post. They know that information about you. They're not selling it to other companies anymore because of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which is good for us as consumers, but they are using it to sell advertising. I bought advertising on Facebook this morning and targeted people who were interested in cats because it's a cat post. So, you can you can target people, and there's all sorts of things that you can target people on. You can even look as a user of the different things that Facebook thinks about you. If you go into your back end and go into your settings and to see the things that Facebook thinks you're interested in. One time it said that I was interested in monster trucks. Do not know how that happened at all. Do not care. I don't care about monster trucks, but it thought that. Sometimes it's wrong. So what I say is just be careful about what you're sharing. Don't share stuff that's too personal. Those fun surveys that people like to share, or when, it's like, oh, hey, tell us your grandmother's, maiden name, and we'll tell you like what your zodiac says about you. And it's like, well, that's just security questions that people can get into their bank account information. So be careful with what you're sharing and just be thoughtful. And again, don't share something that you wouldn't want to put on a billboard on the side of the highway. You had a question, sir? Yeah. 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 I think you speak for all of us who say that. I remember when the internet was created, and I grew up kind of on the internet, and I remember the very first thing that my mom and dad ever told me that now I've had them to repeat back to them now 20 years later is don't share anything because there's pedophiles on the internet and they will get you. And it's, now I have to tell my mom, hey, maybe you shouldn't, you know, if you're gonna post pictures of the grandkids with their names, maybe don't have a public Instagram account. Like maybe you should put that on lock because, you know, yes, the Facebook platform or Instagram can still see it, but it makes it a lot harder for nefarious people to see it. And yeah, if sometimes it is therapeutic to write out a comment and then delete it and not share it so you don't get lost into an argument with people, that's also totally fine. I think we've all done that a little bit. Erin.
I would see the really special. Go to them and I would because they were those algorithms are they like but I never had the time right as I'm seeing our information and so I don't specials.
Yeah.
And the algorithm. Which costs
Yeah, the algorithm is designed for you as consumers to give you as an individual the content that you are most likely to engage with, that you're most likely to see. You know, my husband and I like a lot of the same pages and we're friends with a lot of the same people. And he's like, hey, did you see what so-and-so posted? And I was like, no, I never talked to them. Why would I see their stuff on Facebook? Well, I talk to them all the time. That's great for you, honey. You know, I don't see their stuff because I don't engage with them. It's all about the stuff that you're commenting on, the stuff that you're liking, the stuff that you're reading and then not liking or commenting on, but reading. So Facebook is designed specifically, and all social media is designed specifically to give you an individual feed. And like you said about the business, you're not shopping at that business anymore because it's not in your habit to go to their website. So why would you think of it? And if you're going to buy meat, you're probably going to go just do it at the grocery store because it's easy because you're already there. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. So it's important to be on it, and it's frustrating because we don't always like the platforms and what they do. But it is really, there are very powerful tools. Your question. Yeah, that's true. They say that doesn't happen, and they keeps coming out in the news. No, we don't listen, and I tend to agree. Just personally, I think that they do, or there's something going on there. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. She said that when it's not just about what she's engaging with on social media, it's what she's saying when Siri is on, or if you have an Android phone, I think it's called Katana, because they can potentially listen through that. Facebook and Instagram and all the social media companies, they say they don't have access to your microphone. Apple's making it harder for companies to get access to your personal data on your phone. Personally, I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I don't have proof of it, but I have anecdotes like that where I think that it's very possible. So I think I'm done, but if you have further questions, I'll be here and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Crystal, thank you very much. I assume you'll be around for a few minutes if anyone has any additional questions. I also wanted to share, Crystal, I don't know if you know, but you mentioned you're a fan of Wellfield, which is awesome. It's one of the greatest places around. This club actually founded Wellfield Botanic Gardens, and one of the little giveaways that we'd like to have is those thank our speakers is by giving you some passes. So I don't have them with me today, but I have your contact info. I'll drop it in the mail to you. You'll get some passes to come and enjoy at your convenience. And I got to echo everything that you said, Jack, is true. this is not a, do not be on social media if you don't want to share everything. I also echo Aaron. I love it because a lot of you who I'm friends with on Facebook and you maybe follow my family's adventures, everyone says, how do you find all these cool places? I can tell you it's probably something that was mentioned to me, or once we get to an area, like even yesterday, we were passing through Kalamazoo, through Portage, and my wife had seen a poster on a storefront in Kalamazoo about a water circus or something. I think it was a Cirque du Soleil style thing coming up. So first of all, she spoke it, but then on our way back through Portage on her phone, it popped up on Facebook as she was looking at it on the way home that this was coming up. Again, not a big deal to me. I find a lot of great things that way. I also try to think before I speak. So there's another lesson for everyone. Think before you speak. And definitely, David, yes, think before you hit send or submit or whatever the button is. And I'll also say, I love it. I love being able to be fed things that I like. Aside from the fact that somebody might at some point put two and two together that Eric's not in his house, you know, he's got all these riches hidden in his basement. Those are actually snakes. I'm a snake guy. I let the snakes loose when we leave our house. Everyone, we let snakes loose when we leave our house. I came from Arizona. They're rattlesnakes. They're rattlesnakes all over our house. My address is, all right, everybody. Great. Thanks everybody today. Thanks Steve for being greeter. Thanks Lisa for invocation four-way. Bill, awesome stuff. Did Bill leave? Where's Bill? Sure, he leaves. Bill, that was some good stuff. And thanks very much to our not-for-profit partners. Thank you for being here and sharing today. And Crystal, that was great. That was excellent. And we do have this recorded and it will be on our website. I hope you're okay with that. We can share that so you can go back and look if you didn't see anything. But for those of you who do use social media for business, really great info on there, really helpful things. So go out and serve to change lives, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.